How can I stay motivated to exercise regularly as I get older? Basically, a motivation question. I get this asked all the time. And I actually just answered that from the last question at the end of it. You get motivated by. Welcome back to another episode of the Brave Today podcast. The show will encourage, challenge, maybe even provoke you to step outside your comfort zone and take more action to better improve yourself and your health. I'm your host, Mark Avens, and in this crazy upside down world that keeps pushing a narrative for people to become soft, weak, sick, unhealthy, and more dependent than ever before, the goal and intent of the show is to help you navigate through it so you can become braver today than you were yesterday. We have inside of the show, there's a couple different types of shows that I do. I do brave guest interviews, where I interview brave people who are not only brave, but are also helping other people become braver. So we bring guests on. I say me, bring guests on to the show. Also, we have a Brave Q&A, which is what we're going to be doing today. And Mondays, moving forward, it's going to be our Monday Brave Q&A episode. And that's where I'll answer questions that I get asked frequently, whether from clients, people I connect with on social media, friends, neighbors, colleagues, family members, so forth. So I'm going to bring to you the most recent questions that I get asked, and I'm going to answer those for you. Chances are you probably may have that same question, and it to provide some value for you in helping you in your health and fitness journey. Also, we have what's called the flavor of the day, and that's where I discuss latest news and health and fitness, pick apart the recent trends, maybe stuff that's in the news. We talk about that. I give you my open and honest opinion. Lastly, we do what's called breakthrough episodes, where we'll go a little deeper dive into maybe a physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual area. Basically, anything that could be holding you back, and really from having the kind of breakthrough that I believe that most of us have within us. We just sometimes have to kind of get over those hurdles, those obstacles, those roadblocks to get in the way. And we'll be doing some deep dives into those. But let's get started. Today's topic is Brave Q&A. I have 7 questions that I've been recently asked, so I'm going to give those to you. And if you have questions, if you're like, man, I have a question I'd like for you to ask, you can hit me up, info@avensfitness.com, and just shoot me the question over there. If you follow me on any of the social platforms, be it in YouTube, you can just drop your question that you have in there in the comments, or you can shoot in the any other areas, be it LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all those kinds of things. I don't really spend a lot of time on all those platforms, but the best place is through here on YouTube. So if you have a question, or through my email, info@avensfitness.com. All right, enough of that. Let's put it aside. Let's get started. This one's going to be for the Brave Q&A after 50. So these are the questions that I've gotten asked, and the people that have asked me those are after they are older than 50. So 52, 56, 65. I had one question that was in the 70s. So I'm going to break those down. I have 7 of those, and we'll just jump right in. Let's get started. So the first question, Mark, I'm 57 years old. Is lifting weights, because I haven't really done it before, will lifting weights make me actually get big and bulky? Aside from that question, I hear this all the time. Mark, I'm afraid if I start to lift weights heavier, it's going to make me bigger and bulkier. Now, is that the case? And the answer, very simple, is no. Will it change your muscle and your body shape? Probably, but for the most part, most people. Now, I will say there's a little bit of a variation. If you have more of a slender frame and maybe you have some excess weight on there and you want to get stronger, but if you have like more of an athletic frame, or more maybe of a sedentary frame, or more of an endomorph, they call it endo and mesomorph. So regarding all those, there might be a little bit of a variation in there, but generally speaking, lifting heavy, going bigger, stronger, challenging your muscles, they're not going to make them bigger and bulkier. Again, that is definitely a myth. Now, when you see people that look big and bulky and they have giant muscles, chances are they're doing way more than what the average person that's over 50 is doing. 99% of the people that are getting big muscles and they're getting bulky, and they want that. They actually they're trying to achieve that as their goal. But if you're just trying to get stronger and you want to get lean and you want to have some tight toned muscles, getting into the gym and lifting up some heavier weights is actually going to be very, very beneficial for you. So the answer to that is no. Lifting weights, lifting heavier weights is not going to make you bigger and bulkier. What's it going to do is going to give you a nice shape. In fact, I always share this when you go to the gym. If you go into the weight room, not everybody, if you look, male or female, and you look at the guys that look serious and are there often or working out, look at what they look like. Do you like the look of what they look like? If that's the case, then chances are what they're doing in the gym is probably going to be helping that, getting that body shape the way they want. If you say, well, what about cardio? I heard cardio is going to get you in great shape. Good. Just look at the majority of people that do cardio, whether they do a class or they're out running or they're doing a spin class, and look at the majority of people in there. If that's the body type that you want, that's the case. But for this question, she asked, will lifting weights make her bigger or bulkier? And the answer is no. So number 2, let's go into the second question. Isn't walking enough exercise for someone like me who's older? And I don't know, this person didn't say how old they were, but their question was basically, can I just get away with walking as a form of exercise? Is that enough for older people? And it can be. I guess the short answer is it can be. It's a yes and no, right? So if you want to just be able to walk, fine. Like if you want to just be able to walk, then they say practice what you want to do. If you want to be a better swimmer, then you got to get in the water and swim. If you want to be a better hiker, you got to get out on the trails and hike. If you want to be a better tennis player, then you got to get out and play tennis, right? It's the same thing. As far as enough exercise, it really just determines on what you ultimately want to achieve. Now, if you want to play tennis and play it well, chances are as you get older, walking for exercise outside of tennis is not going to be enough. I would recommend for somebody that plays a tennis or sport is to be strong as you get older, develop good balance, good structure in your muscles, have good strength to be able to play well, and then also to prevent injury. So the no to that is if you have high aspirations and goals, and also the tough thing for walking and any exercise, to be honest with you, if you're only doing one thing, unless you're progressing yourself, unless you're making it more challenging, what happens is your body gets adapted to it, that gets accommodated to it. And then what happens when you get strong and you're walking? Now, I'm not saying if you start out walking, you walk at a brisk pace, or maybe carry a ruck, which is a weighted backpack, and you're walking with that, you're making it more progressively more difficult for your body, which means your body has to adapt, which means your muscles have to get stronger. And that's a very, very good thing. But if you just say, is just walking around my neighborhood enough? I would honestly say for that, if it was just that bare bones, no. Because as we get older, we lose muscle integrity, joint integrity, and walking is better than not walking, right? But I would say it's probably bare minimum, but it's not going to get you in great shape. It's not going to keep the weight off. It may help with some digestion, and it may help, you keep you moving, which is fine. So I would say if as you're getting older and you're thinking about wanting to walk, honestly, your best bet is to do some cross conditioning, maybe do some strength training, resistance training, that sort of thing. That's going to actually help you in your process. All right, let's move forward. Number 3, what is the best kind of exercise for me? I'm over 50. What's the best kind of exercise for me? I'm over 50. That's all I got for this. The best kind of exercise is going to be, this is the easy question, and I hear this one off. Best kind of exercise you should be doing after 50 is the one that you enjoy and the one that you're going to do. You're going to be consistent. Now, back to the last question. If walking is something you really enjoy and you want to do it, just go for a longer walk, maybe try some hills, some trails, do some different types of walking, maybe do some snowshoeing, which is like a form of walking, right? Maybe even if you're out in the snow somewhere, cross country skiing, that sort of stuff, maybe do some trails that are going to have a little bit of an incline, maybe go up to some elevation levels. Those are going to be all fun things. So if that's your thing, right? As far as if you like to hit the gym and work out hard and use weights, then I'm going to recommend that that's going to be your best exercise after 50. But I would say if you're like, man, I'm just not a gym person, I hate the gym, there's nothing about it that makes me want to go, you're probably not going to have a really good experience at the gym because you're not going to enjoy it. So now I'm not saying it should always be enjoyable, because I like going to the gym and working out and doing weights and all that stuff. I don't always. We'll get into that maybe with one of the questions, I believe, is motivation. We'll talk about that. But ultimately, the best kind of exercise is the one that you're going to enjoy and the one that you're going to be most consistent with. All right, let's move on. That's a pretty easy question. This one is actually an interesting one. I haven't heard this one in a while. I've heard it before. Mark, don't you have to be in relatively good shape to start exercising or going to a gym? Now, and that's all I have. So basically, the question is, do you have to be in like okay shape or relatively good conditioning to start exercising or going to the gym? And the answer to that is no. And I know maybe on the front end, when you hear this as a question, you're like, of course, no, you don't. That's partly why you start. I think sometimes, and now this added on going to the gym. So I do think that there's a fear involved with people, many people who haven't been to the gym, maybe you've never been to the gym or haven't been in a gym in a long time. And now maybe you're 60 years old. Maybe, when you were in your 20s, nobody went to the gym at that time and you don't really know what to do or how to do it or how to use the equipment or what's the protocol or what's the, what do I even bring to the gym? Do I bring a sweat towel? Do I have water? Is it going to be like, there's all these questions that can be easy to just say, you know what, forget it. But as far as being in good condition, no, in fact, I actually recommend that if you're going to start exercising and you start to go to the gym, be okay with actually not knowing what to do or how to do it. You're trying something new. You're deciding to maybe step out of your comfort zone for the first time, and that can be intimidating, right? But the good news is you realize, partly if you're thinking about this question, you're realizing maybe what you're currently doing or not doing isn't really helping, and you're getting older and you're feeling the aches and pains, and you're seeing how the weight's easy to get on, and maybe you see your habits aren't really dialed in too well. You're not eating really healthy foods, maybe not drinking enough water, maybe you're consuming a little too much alcohol, maybe you're a little bit too lazy, that sort of stuff. So the good news is, for those that are listening that kind of fall in that category, worrying about like going to the gym, what happens a lot of times is just it's like the failure to launch. It actually causes a lot of people to say, you know what, I don't think I'm in good enough shape to go to the gym yet. Let me just wait until I get a little stronger, or maybe I'm not quite as fat to get to the gym. Maybe let me drop a few pounds and then we start to work out a little bit more, and then I'll feel more comfortable. And I would say, you know what, you're really missing out. There's a lot of good people in there. And to be honest with you, as far as like going to a gym, or, I mean, I'm kind of directing this question more to the gym versus just start exercising. So you could start exercising today by going for a walk. But as far as going to the gym, the good news is nobody's paying attention to anybody else in the gym. Now you might see somebody come across or see them do an exercise, or they might have a nice looking body, or you see somebody that's maybe struggling on one. You might notice that, but I can't say that I know too many people that go to the gym to be worried about what other people are doing, because they're trying to do what they're trying to do for themselves. I know when I go to the gym, I just try to focus on my own workout, get it in, get it done, and get out of there. And that's the good news. So what you think people are probably maybe judging, nobody's really judging, because everybody to their some level has their own insecurities. That's partly why maybe they're using going to the gym or exercising. They don't like the way they look or how they feel, or realize they know they need to exercise, and that's why they're there. So the good news is, no, you do not have to be in good shape to start exercising or going to the gym. All right, number 5. If I haven't worked out in years and I want to, how much time does it take to start getting back into shape? How much time do I need, essentially, is what they're asking. I think that's kind of what the question's a little unclear, but I think the question is how much time is it going to take for me to get in shape to work out? And these are all exercise related questions. So it honestly takes as much time as it needs. I know that's sort of maybe a skate around, but it is. If you have only 15 minutes to exercise, then exercise for 15 minutes. If you have 2 hours to exercise, and if you're a beginner, I probably wouldn't recommend you go start working out for 2 hours at a time. But if you have extra time, maybe you're retired or you have your own business and you have some leverage and you're able to get out and move a little bit more, then I would say start to move and see what you can deal. And if you have more time, to spend more time. It also does come back to depending on what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to chase down some really pretty serious goals, you're aspiring to get in really great shape, or you have some specific things that you want to achieve physically, you're going to have to put the work in, and it's going to take the time. But as far as getting started, or, if you're a new person, you can get started and start with a 10-minute walk. You can start with a 15-minute bike ride. You can get in and, go for a swim and do a couple laps, 10, 15 laps, and call it a day. Maybe do a class and only do a quarter of the class and walk out. Nobody's going to judge you. Just go. You step out of the class and you come back and do it more. So the good news is it takes as much time as you can offer yourself and give yourself. And it'll also take as much time as it needs. Like, it's really the good news I love about it is that it's the pursuit of getting in shape, because there's no getting in the point that you're in the kind of shape that you can just stop exercising. So the funny thing is I see people that start to get in better shape and they realize, man, this isn't all that hard. In a sense, I don't really feel like I need to get motivated. The motivation is coming because I see the result and then they just want to do more. For me, I know how good I feel when I'm exercising and moving more than not. And that's going to be a part of my life for the rest of my life. So I hope that catches on to you. But really, the time factor is not nearly as important as just getting out and doing it. Okay, number 6. How can I stay motivated to exercise regularly as I get older? Basically, a motivation question. I get this asked all the time. How can I stay motivated to exercise? And I actually just answered that from the last question at the end of it. You get motivated by, in the beginning, not thinking you need to be motivated to exercise. Just go exercise. When you're not motivated, what should you do? Exercise. When you're stressed out and you don't really go exercise. Like, my answer to all, go exercise, do it. Just, you got to do the work first. And when you put in the work and the time and the effort that's necessary, you're going to start to see results. And once you get those results, then that is the internal motivation. Now, it won't be perfect because I'm not always motivated. Majority of time, 9 times out of 10, I'm never thinking about being motivated. I just go and do it because I know how valuable it is for me. I know I have to be intentional. It's a part of the discipline that I have, but also know the benefits. I know how much better I feel after. So you won't need to stay motivated to exercise so long as you're doing exercise that's getting you results. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of people I've met like, Mark, no, I exercise all the time, just not motivated. Chances are it's because you're probably not getting results, which just draws me back to what is it that you're doing? Not just with exercise, because I met plenty of people that do a lot of great exercise, but then what they do the rest of the day is their train wreck and what their diet is and their stress levels and their lack of sleep and how they spend their day. And those are all other factors, things that we take care of in our coaching program, helping people on all those other areas, that those combine really how results are made. And they're not just made with workouts, they're not just made with nutrition. They're made by learning a skill set of developing better habits to give you what you need to be successful. Okay. So the motivation question, again, do the work, get the results. The results will provide, basically limitless motivation, and you'll never need to think about motivation again. Number 7, this is the last one for today in this Brave Q&A, and this is more after 50, so over 50. These are all the people that asked these questions were over 50. I think the oldest was 73 or 74. What types of exercise are best for improving bone density? This is a bit of a longer question. Recently at my doctor's visit, the doctor mentioned that I have kind of early onset osteoporosis and said I should be doing exercises, strength training exercises, and exercise to help with bone density. What are those? Can you give me? I was a little unclear. What are the exercises? So I actually mentioned it, but really for bone density and preventing it, helping it, prolonging osteoporosis means you got to strengthen your bones. You have to keep your bone integrity. The strength of your bones is so important as we get older. And what happens with osteoporosis, poros is just like pores. So you think of like pores in your skin. Osteo just means bones. So there's like pores or openings, holes in your bones. So what happens is that as you get older, the bone integrity gets less because there's more space. There's openings in those bones, bone cavity, if you will. And what's really good about it, good and bad, good thing about it is you can prolong and prevent the effects of osteoporosis by doing certain types of exercise, specifically weight-bearing exercises. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the supplementation, just more with the exercise, because you probably will require that as well, and your doctor can talk about it. But this is more for the exercise part. But when you do weight-bearing exercise, of course, you're going to be working your muscles. Let's just say, perfect example, push-ups. So let's talk about push-ups. When you do a push-up and your hands are on a ground or on a table or countertop or what have you, You're going to be putting pressure. The weight of your body is going to go through your body and your arms into the ground. And when you do a push-up, that's called a weight-bearing exercise. If you're standing and you do a squat, that's a weight-bearing. You're bearing your weight on your body. And what that does is it causes your bones and your muscles to work, but also your bones get stimulated. It's feeling the pressure of the weight. And what that does is it helps your body keep strong bones, because it asks, oh, hey, it's kind of like your muscles. When you work them hard, your muscles will get broken down when you do strength training for your muscles. But the key is weight bearing. Now, weight bearing is not getting on a machine and pushing weight this way. Weight bearing is actually through the ground. So squats, lunges, push-ups, things like that. Planks are really good. Those are types of things. Are strength training exercise going to be helpful and beneficial? Absolutely. So like free weights and cables and bands and all, like exercise bands, those are all useful, but they're more specifically directed to the muscle and not the joints. So the best types of exercises as far as for improving bone density and preventing osteoporosis is going to be your weight bearing exercise. You could do a Google search and do, weight bearing exercise. You're going to see things like planks and push-ups and squats and lunges, side planks. You'll see bridges are good, those types of things. Anything where your body is going to be connected to the ground and you're basically getting the effect of gravity and your weight, and that's putting into pressure on your bones, and that's going to help prolong it, and also is going to help strengthen the integrity of your bones. I feel like I'm a geek about this stuff. When I worked in orthopedics back in the physical therapy days, I remember we worked with joint replacements, hips and knees and, shoulders and back surgeries and all that kind of stuff. And I was the guy that would actually be at your bedside, say, okay, Mrs. Jones, it's time to get up. We're going to, see how that new hip's doing and get you walking on a walker, maybe try on some stairs and that sort of thing. Get you weight bearing after surgery. It's important after, say, like a hip replacement where they go in and replace the hip. They want to get you back moving so you get your muscles stronger and your bones stronger around the new joint replacement. That's the case for everything, your knees and your hips and back and all that stuff. Good stuff. So that's all I have for today's Brave Q&A. Again, if you do have questions, comments, concerns, drop those in the comments. You can send an info@avensfitness.com. And then if you did like this episode, all I ask is that you hit the like, subscribe, and that you share it with a friend. I appreciate you. I hope you have an amazing, blessed day. Take care. See you soon.